Hey guys, this is Came for 15, back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another Science Fell in Love, and I tried to prove it. Now I know I missed last week's episode, but I was very busy with what I had to do, and then I was kind of lazy. But last week's episode was interesting, and then you get the cliffhanger about Shiki Joe, the dude, looking like a crazy dude because he pretty much asked Kanade about taking things seriously and being boyfriend girlfriend, and because of a whole different response, because she's afraid in this whole normality thing. She ends up answering a question. She ends up answering the way she mean it, and we got last week's episode ending off with the whole thing of this dude Shiki Joe looking like a man possessed, like he about to do something to her. And also in that same episode last week, Kanade also said something pretty hurtful to Yukimura and everything, and acted like as if she never knew him. So I get to this week's episode and everything, which is the season finale for Science Fell in Love. So I tried to prove it, and I saw the episode. Next thing you know, I see a black screen. It has text above it, and it says, "Warning: this episode contains things about, I guess, sexual harassment, the R word, and in terms of scenes like that, of how far it could go." And I'm like, wait, don't tell me what I think is going to happen here. Anyways, we find out that this man, Shiki Joe, is a freaking crazy lunatic. He ends up freaking tasing Kanade and takes her back to this freaking abandoned warehouse with these bunch of gang members. Now, we cut over to this teacher, and this teacher's like, "Oh yeah, Shiki Joe? Yeah, he's an interesting character, and not for the right reasons." And we see in this episode pretty much, Shiki. Now, at first, Kanade is trying to get away from this guy, and she even does the same thing she did to her teacher back in the past, defending herself, and she throws him. But because she does this, she recalls her past, and she starts having that traumatic moment and everything. Guy ends up capturing her, tasing her, and stuff like that. Anyways, she then wakes up, and lo and behold, like I said, she's in this abandoned warehouse. Shiki Joe's there with a bunch of gang members. Her hands and her feet are tied, and I'm like, oh shit. Listen, this show was extremely happy-go-lucky, comedic show. I did not see this twist of this show getting to the fact of someone legitimately getting R-worded in this episode. I don't know what tone of shift this was, but this was one of the weirdest, most insane ways to turn a story and just flip it upside its head, which is okay. I didn't ask for a dark storyline, but my god, you pretty much find out that this dude Shiki Joe is freaking crazy. He wants her to be a normal girlfriend, and pretty much he's telling Kanade, you're not normal because you rejected me and everything, and he's giving these crazy possessed eyes. And that's when Kanade kind of pours her heart out and everything, and she says, "You're right, I'm not normal and everything. I do all these things that are different than the normal person, than what a regular person would do. I'm not very girly and stuff like that." And I'm like, okay, good. She's finally admitting that she's different compared to other people, which was kind of the moral of the episode, of Kanade accepting the fact that, her normal is different than, say, a normal of Yukimura. That's his normal, while her normal is completely different. And the fact is that people like her regardless of how different she may be. Anyways, this guy ain't having it, and he's losing his damn mind to the point he literally is like, "I'm gonna force you to be freaking normal or something like that. Now, one of the guys said, let's just force her and everything. And it's getting to the innuendos of them forcing themselves on her and stuff like that. And this guy freaking tases this dude like crazy to the point he's bleeding. I'm like, wait, we're seeing blood? I'm watching this and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? This is not science found love, I tried to prove it. This is some dark ass shit. I'm watching this episode. I'm in utter shock with what I'm watching. And I'm like, there is no way for the 24 episodes or the 23 episodes of this entire show's run. It's been a freaking comedic, nice comedic pace, light tone, slice of life stuff going on. And all of a sudden, the 24th episode of this show, it's the darkest thing known to man. And we're almost getting a character we all like, almost getting R-worded. At the same time, we see this crazy possessive dude damn near freaking shocks this guy to death. So that's the whole thing. Eventually it gets to the point where the guys end up all ganging up on her and they almost about to freaking rip her clothes off and Kanade's clothes off and everything. And it's like, oh my goodness. I'm like, no, there's no way. There's no way she about to get freaking, and all of a sudden, the glass breaks. I'm like, oh, the crew's come up in here. They're ready to save her ass. Yada yada. I thought the buff teacher was about to come and knock some skulls, but no, it's just Yukimura. And Yukimura, I'm like, oh, he's about to have this badass moment. He's gonna kick all their asses and shit like that. But this man pulls out his fucking projector and he starts fucking giving these motherfuckers a lesson. I'm like, what the fudge? And everyone is like, huh? Are you serious, yo? And pretty much this whole thing is he explaining that the thing is Kanade's different in her own way. So her normal is different than somebody else. And this guy, Shikijo, is like, I will turn her normal. I'll make her be the ideal girlfriend, normal girlfriend that I want, which is pretty much just kind of a yes girl. Somebody that is just saying yes, 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 yes. And they're kind of just like, I guess you can say a robot in a way. That's what this guy wants her to force her to be. And I do love this scene when Yukimura shows up and he shows, Kanade, pretty much everybody in her life that is important to her, pretty much say like, I like you for who you are. There's nothing I wouldn't change about you. Like, I loved how Himuro said, I would like to know more things about her because I feel like she hides a lot of things about herself. And I'm like, yeah, we even get Yukimura really actually went to the teacher that she was in love with and everything. And what is it? And the teacher's like, listen, I really did truly enjoy spending that time studying with you. The reason why I'm like, listen, I know you blame yourself for what happened, but it's no problem. You see, actually, if I had completely fell, if you didn't throw me and I fell, well, I would have accidentally touched your boob. And that would have been a whole different can of worms and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the teacher said, I really, truly did enjoy my time with you and stuff like that. And again, you get all the other characters that say all their nice things and everything. And it was just kind of an eye-opening moment to Kanade of her realizing that, listen, she may be odd in her own way, but everybody likes her for who she is. Anyways, the freaking dudes, all of a sudden, he's about to continue his thing. Yukimura gets socked, and he's just getting beat up, and she's like, and Kanade is obviously emotional because she's like, somebody she cares about is getting beat up, which, in her whole plea of how normal she isn't, she actually goes on earlier in the episode and pretty much admits that she's in love with Yukimura. Okay. She was in love with Yukimura, which they did do that whole hint or that whole thing of back in season 1 with the whole thing of that there's a potential chance that Kanade is in love with Yukimura. But they kind of blew it off and anything. But anyways, he gets beat up, but what happens is, it looks like he's gonna get tased, but then he gets back up and he puts this vial next to somebody's throat and he's like, you do know what this is, because I know you went to the science class. He opens up his robe. Like, I'm like, wait, And it's funny because this guy was like, what, you got a gun or something? And all of a sudden he pulls out these like sciencey stuff, and I'm just looking at it, it zooms in. It's freaking hydrochloric acid and some other acid, which pretty much is the stomach acid within you that pretty much disintegrates and melts anything that it freaking touches. And stuff like that, and pretty much you can legitimately die. And the freaking dude saw that shit, and they were like, hold on, calm down there, man. Why would you have that on you? And I'm like, this man really about to put hydrochloric acid on them? All of them end up, even Shikijo is all freaked out and everything. He's losing his damn mind. They're all like, whoa, calm down. Okay, we'll stop, listen. And it's funny because he freaking like splashes a little bit of it on them, and they're like, shit, get this shit off me, I'm gonna fucking die, pretty much. And they run out of the freaking building. He's like, dude, I'm sorry, I gotta get this stuff off of me. And then that's when Yukimura confronts Shikijo. He pulls out both acid bottles, and this man's like, please, I didn't mean anything by it. I promise I won't do it again. And he's like, oh, really? You won't? Well, I'm not going to let that happen. And he freaking smashes the bottle. This guy, Shikijo, gives a classic SpongeBob SquarePants movie reference of, my eyes! And you see the eyes all red and everything. And I'm like, dog, there is no way he just put hydrochloric acid all over his body. This man is committing murder. I'm like, this guy is, I'm like, Yukimura is a savage. You really don't give up. I literally thought this man put hydrochloric acid on this man's body, and his eyes were like red because they were burning. I'm like, yo, this man's gonna lose his eyes and everything. But they turned out to find out, which I figured it was, because Yukimura would have got arrested regardless if he did that. Because you can say that's pretty much assault. But Yukimura, he pretty much tells Shikijo, that's just it's just water. It scares Shiki, and Shikijo's like, oh, that's the best you got, well then I can stop you. But then he's like, oh yeah, you see, actually there's a thing. The police ended up showing up in the nick of time. They arrested the guys who ended up leaving, and pretty much Shikijo's, down for the count, and he ends up get arrested and everything. Yukimura talks over to Kanade and everything, and he's like, are you okay and everything? I love how he covered it, because she had a little part of her, shirt ripped where you could see a little bit of her bra string and everything. And pretty much Kanade gets upset at him to the point she throws him and stuff like that. And she sits on top of him. And she's pretty much saying, all this stuff and everything of like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Yada, yada, yada. Why'd you do this? And Himuro walks in and she obviously smiles. And I'm like, oh. Now, I honestly thought Kanade was going to kiss Yukimura and everything, but you get the end credits, and everything, and the next day, they're all back in the lab area focusing on the next thing, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's very much interesting. How is Himura going to take the fact that it looks like the show's going to end off with Yukimura and Kanade being hooked up? But no, the episode pretty much ends off with the fact that, well, Himura pretty much says, well, Yukimura, there's actually somebody else that's in love with you. And he looks and he's like, what? And he's like, who is it? And she's like, it's Kanade. He looks over at Kanade, and pretty much Kanade's like, yeah, I never had the heart to tell you and everything, but I was going to and stuff like that. And pretty much the whole new objective now is that they're gonna find out who loves Yukimura more, Himuro or Kanade. In a way, there's a love triangle going on, and that's how the season ends. You get a fun thing with Kyosuke. He still doesn't win the game. He doesn't get the ending of the game he wants to get. And he looks at frickin' Ibarada, and he's like, I will not love you, pretty much, because she kind of plays him on like, oh, is there somebody that you actually truly do love and stuff like that? But the season ends off with the fact that apparently there's a love triangle going on, and I guess the next exercise or the next research information is to see which one of the girls loves Yukimura more, Himuro or Kanade. and that's how the episode ends, and that's how season 2 ends. I don't know if there's going to be a season 3 of this show. I try to do as much digging in terms of the, I guess, the manga and everything I could do, and stuff like that. But I don't really know. I really don't know if there's gonna be a season 3, because you really don't kind of get an inconclusive. Okay, who is Yukimura now gonna hook up with? Because now you got a love triangle angle and stuff like that. Because now Kanade is in love with him now. You can say that's kind of BS to the fact that she fell in love with him, but like I said, the signs were there. So if they ever do a season 3, I'm down for it. I don't know if my channel will still be a thing by the time it comes, because it could be a while, I guess. It was a while for season 2 to come out, and again, like I said, I was absolutely shocked that we even got a season 2 of this show. They really could have just had a season 1 of this show and just called it quits, but hey, they left the door open for a potential season 3 if they ever want to do it down the road. Like I said, I know there's a manga of this, but apparently I guess there's not enough material of the manga to adapt as for a season 3. But if their anime just wanted to do an anime original season 3, fine, go right ahead. I guess you would have to get permission from the author because it's his property. So yeah, but in terms of season 2 as a whole, I enjoyed season 2 as much as I enjoyed season 1. It was just your typical comedic, funny show of Yukimura and Himuro being put in these scenes, or these, test runs to prove if they truly do love each other. And I also did love the whole element of the fact that they had a whole Kanade storyline of, this, her needing to accept that people like her for who she is, and she also needs to accept that, she isn't normal. She's not normal like other people are. And it's kind of it's a real life thing, is the fact that there's really no normal person. It's just a whole thing. You're normal in your own way. Like, some of the quirks and some of the personality traits of me I see as normal for myself, but maybe to another person, they're not normal. So, yeah, but I enjoyed this season of Science Fell in Love, and I tried to prove it, and I'm definitely going to miss this show, because this show reminded me of season 1 and gave me a lot of laughs. Even though this last episode was a lot darker than probably any of the episodes, in the past, this was still a great show. And I'm definitely gonna miss it. And I do hope we get a season 3. I definitely could see this show getting a season 3. If not, I think 2 seasons is good enough. The only thing I just don't like about that is the fact they kind of leave an open-ended thing of the fact that Yukimura ultimately doesn't have a partner, a romance partner, because now there's a love triangle going on. And I will say this, I respect the fact that this love triangle, seemingly enough, is going to be respectable, and it's like whoever wins between the two is just going to be the one to accept it. But typically in how these romance shows go, if they end up having a love triangle, typically it's usually the first girl, the main, female main character, that is the winner. Which is funny enough, season 1 was truly about Himuro, and then season 2 was mostly about Kanade. So maybe season 3 is mostly about both, with us getting the answer if they ever decide to make a season 3. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on Science Fell in Love, and I tried to prove it season 2. Your thoughts on this dark ass episode. And do you think that there will be a Science Fell in Love, so I tried to prove it season 3? Well, I guess we'll just have to be patient and wait and see if we're ever gonna get that. But maybe the thing is they just need more content to adapt before we get an eventual season 3 if it comes down the line. But typically with these shows, you don't really truly honestly know if you ever are gonna get that said season 3. But yeah, but anyways, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Cam 315 content or anything else left on the video. Until then, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Till then, guys, peace.